What if I told you that the strongest athletes in ancient Greece never did a single repetition, that modern gyms have convinced you that movement equals progress when the opposite might be true, and that 5 simple positions, held completely still, could transform your entire body faster than any workout program you've ever tried? Right now, while you're watching this, your muscles are capable of generating forces up to 30% greater during static contractions than during dynamic movements. Yet almost nobody trains this way because we've been conditioned to believe that exercise means counting reps and chasing exhaustion, when in reality, the secret to building unshakable strength, bulletproof stability, and the kind of resilient body that never breaks down might be found in absolute stillness. These 5 isometric exercises that I'm about to reveal don't just build muscle, they rewire your nervous system, activate dormant motor units that traditional training never reaches, and create a foundation of strength so deep that everything else you do becomes effortless. And the most shocking part is that you can do them anywhere, anytime, with zero equipment, which means the only thing standing between you and a completely transformed body is the next 15 minutes of your life. But here's what the fitness industry doesn't want you to know. When you hold a static contraction, something remarkable happens at the cellular level that goes far beyond simple muscle building. Your body enters what researchers call a metabolic stress state, where blood flow to the working muscles becomes partially restricted, oxygen levels drop, and your muscle fibers start recruiting every available motor unit in a desperate attempt to maintain the position, triggering a cascade of adaptations that actually exceed what happens during traditional repetition-based training. Think about it. When you're doing curls or squats with normal reps, you're constantly giving your muscles micro breaks at the top and bottom of each movement, but when you hold an isometric position, there's no escape, no relief, just continuous tension that forces your body to adapt or fail. And this constant tension creates microscopic damage to muscle fibers while simultaneously flooding them with metabolic byproducts that signal your body to build back stronger, denser, and more resilient than before. The ancient warriors knew this instinctively. They trained by holding shields overhead for minutes at a time, maintaining spear stances until their legs trembled, and hanging from fortress walls until their grip gave out. And modern science has finally caught up to what they understood centuries ago. That true strength isn't about how many times you can move a weight, it's about how long you can hold your ground against resistance. Now let's talk about the first exercise that will completely change your posterior chain. And I'm calling it the Superman hold because when you do it correctly, you'll feel like you're defying gravity itself. You lie face down on the floor, extend your arms straight ahead and your legs straight behind you, then simultaneously lift your chest, arms, and legs off the ground as if you're flying through the air. And here's where it gets interesting. You're not just randomly lifting your limbs, you're creating a precise arch that activates your entire posterior chain, lower back, glutes, hamstrings, and even the intricate stabilizer muscles along your spine that most people never engage their entire lives. The magic happens when you hold this position for 20 to 40 seconds, breathing steadily while every fiber in your back screams for release. Because during this time your spinal erectors are working overtime to maintain the arch, your glutes are firing to keep your legs elevated, and deep within your core, the multifidus muscles that protect your spine from injury are activating in ways they never do during crunches or back extensions. But here's the critical mistake that 90% of people make. They arch their back too aggressively, hyperextending their spine and creating compression that can lead to pain instead of strength, when the goal is actually to create a gentle, controlled arch that emphasizes muscle engagement over extreme range of motion. Think about elongating your body like a bow being drawn, not crunching your spine like an accordion. The Superman is particularly crucial for anyone who sits at a desk all day because sitting creates what physiotherapists call gluteal amnesia, where your glute muscles literally forget how to fire properly, leading to lower back pain, poor posture, and a cascade of compensatory movements that eventually result in injury. But when you practice the Superman consistently, you're sending a powerful signal to your nervous system that these muscles need to stay active and engaged. Here's what nobody tells you. Start with 3 sets of 20 seconds, and if your lower back starts cramping instead of burning, you're doing it wrong. Cramping means you're compensating with your spine instead of engaging your glutes, so reset your position, squeeze your buttocks hard before you lift, and try again with slightly less elevation. As you progress over weeks, you'll notice something extraordinary. Your posture will naturally improve. You'll stand taller without thinking about it. and movements like picking things up off the floor or carrying heavy objects will suddenly feel effortless because you've built the deep structural strength that makes everything else possible. The second exercise is the isometric push-up hold, and this is where things get really interesting because unlike regular push-ups where you're bouncing up and down, potentially using momentum and giving your muscles constant rest, you're going to lower yourself halfway down and simply freeze in space. Get into a standard push-up position with your hands slightly wider than shoulder width, your body forming a perfect plank from heels to head. Then bend your elbows and lower yourself until your arms are at 90 degrees, and stop right there. This is your torture chamber. This is where transformation happens. What's occurring in your muscles right now is almost violent. Your chest, shoulders, and triceps are contracting with maximum intensity to hold you suspended in mid-air. Your core is firing like a furnace to prevent your hips from sagging, and your nervous system is recruiting muscle fibers in a pattern it would never use during normal push-ups, creating adaptations that translate to explosive strength when you return to dynamic movements. The research on this is fascinating. Studies show that isometric training at specific joint angles creates the greatest strength gains at that exact angle, which means by holding the bottom position of a push-up, you're building tremendous strength in the exact range of motion where most people fail during regular push-ups, essentially removing your weakest link and turning it into your strongest asset. Start with 3 sets of 15 seconds, and I guarantee that by the third set, your entire upper body will be shaking uncontrollably. This isn't weakness, this is your nervous system learning to sustain maximal tension, and with each session, you'll find you can hold longer, steadier, stronger. The critical mistake here is letting your shoulders hunch up toward your ears or allowing your hips to pike upward like you're doing a yoga pose. Keep your shoulders pulled down and back, engage your core like someone's about to punch you in the stomach, and maintain that perfect plank position even when every muscle is begging you to quit. Third on our list is the wall sit, sometimes called the invisible chair, and this exercise is absolutely brutal in the best possible way because it targets your quadriceps, glutes, and core with relentless intensity. Find a wall, lean your back against it, then slide down until your thighs are parallel to the floor and your knees are bent at 90 degrees, as if you're sitting in a chair that doesn't exist, and now you wait. Within 10 seconds, you'll feel a burn in your thighs. Within 20 seconds, that burn will turn into fire. And by 30 seconds, you'll understand why this exercise has been used by athletes, martial artists, and military personnel for decades to build leg strength that never quits. What's happening inside your quadriceps during this hold is remarkable. Because the muscle is under constant tension with no relief, blood flow becomes partially restricted, creating a hypoxic environment that forces your muscle cells to adapt by increasing their capacity to store and utilize energy, and simultaneously, your nervous system is learning to sustain high levels of muscle fiber recruitment for extended periods, which is the very definition of muscular endurance. The wall sit also hammers your core in ways that sit-ups never could because your abdominal muscles must stay contracted to keep your spine properly aligned against the wall, and your glutes must fire continuously to prevent your thighs from rotating inward, creating a full-body coordination challenge that improves your movement patterns in every other activity you do. Start with 3 sets of 20 to 30 seconds, and here's your goal. Work up to holding for a full minute, which sounds simple until you try it and realize that after 40 seconds, your legs start shaking so violently you can hear them rattling against the wall. The common mistake is allowing your knees to drift forward past your toes, which shifts tension away from your glutes and puts dangerous stress on your knee joints. So make sure your shins stay vertical and your weight presses through your heels. Think about trying to push the wall away from you with your back. The fourth exercise is the dead hang, which is deceptively simple but absolutely transformative for your grip strength, shoulder health, and spinal decompression. Find a pull-up bar or any overhead bar that can support your weight, grab it with both hands at shoulder width, and just hang there with your arms fully extended, letting your body weight create traction through your spine. What seems like simple hanging is actually creating profound changes throughout your body. Your forearm muscles are contracting intensely to maintain your grip, your shoulder stabilizers are working to keep your arm sockets properly positioned, and the weight of your entire body is gently decompressing your spine, creating space between vertebrae that have been compressed all day by sitting and poor posture. Grip strength is one of the most overlooked aspects of overall fitness, yet research shows it's a powerful predictor of longevity and functional capacity as you age. People with stronger grips live longer, maintain independence later in life, and have lower rates of cardiovascular disease. And the dead hang is the single most effective exercise for building grip strength because you're supporting your entire body weight with just your hands. Start with 3 sets of 10 to 20 seconds and focus on keeping your shoulders slightly engaged. Don't let them completely relax and rise up to your ears, but don't overcontract them either. Find that sweet spot where your shoulder blades are slightly pulled down and back. As you progress, you'll notice something amazing. Your posture will improve because hanging strengthens the muscles that retract your shoulder blades, pulling your shoulders back and opening your chest, reversing the forward rounded posture that plagues modern life. The mistake people make is gripping too tightly with just their fingers. Instead, think about wrapping your entire hand around the bar, with your thumb actively opposing your fingers, creating a secure hook grip that distributes the load evenly. Finally, we come to the isometric plank, the king of core exercises. And if you think you know how to do a plank, I'm about to show you why you've probably been doing it wrong this entire time. Get into position on your forearms and toes, with your body forming a perfectly straight line from your head to your heels. Not a sagging line, not a piked line, but a straight line as if someone placed a board on your back. Your forearms should be parallel to each other, your elbows directly under your shoulders, your core contracted so intensely that you could bounce a quarter off your abdomen, and your glutes squeezed tight enough to crack a walnut. Here's what makes the plank so powerful. It's not just an exercise, it's a full-body integration movement that teaches all your muscles to work together as a unified system, and this coordination is what separates people who move well from people who get injured. During a proper plank, your rectus abdominis, obliques, and transverse abdominis all contract simultaneously to prevent your spine from extending, your hip flexors work to keep your pelvis neutral, your glutes fire to prevent anterior pelvic tilt, your shoulder stabilizers engage to keep your upper body solid, and even your legs are actively working to maintain the position. It's a symphony of muscular coordination that creates the foundation for every other movement you do. The research on planks is clear. People who can hold a solid plank for 2 minutes have significantly lower rates of lower back pain, better posture, and improved performance in virtually every athletic endeavor, from running to lifting to sports. Start with 3 sets of 20 to 30 seconds, but here's your real goal. Work up to a 2-minute hold, which will require weeks or months of consistent practice but will fundamentally transform your core strength. The critical mistake is holding your breath, which spikes your blood pressure and causes premature fatigue. Instead, breathe steadily and deliberately, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth while maintaining rock-solid tension throughout your body. Now here's the secret that ties all 5 exercises together. These aren't just random movements, they're a complete system that builds strength from the inside out, starting with your deep stabilizer muscles and working outward to your prime movers, creating a body that's not just strong but resilient, coordinated, and injury-proof. When you combine the Superman for your posterior chain, the push-up hold for your upper body, the wall sit for your legs, the dead hang for your grip and shoulders, and the plank for your core, you've covered every major muscle group and movement pattern your body needs, all without a single piece of equipment or a single repetition. The progression is simple but requires discipline. Start by doing all 5 exercises 3 times per week, beginning with the shorter hold times I mentioned, and every week, add 5 seconds to each hold until you reach the advanced targets. Track your progress obsessively because the gains you'll see in hold times directly correlate to the strength and stability you're building in your body. Within 4 weeks, you'll notice that your posture has improved dramatically. Movements that used to cause discomfort now feel effortless, and you have a deep, rock-solid strength that permeates everything you do. Within 8 weeks, people will start asking what you've been doing differently because the changes in your body composition and the way you carry yourself will be undeniable. The beautiful thing about isometric training is that it meets you where you are. If 20 seconds feels impossible, start with 10. If 10 feels too easy, increase to 30. The principle remains the same. Hold the position with perfect form until the burn becomes unbearable, then hold for 5 more seconds. These 5 exercises are your blueprint for building a body that's strong, stable, and resilient enough to handle anything life throws at you, all in the stillness that our movement-obsessed culture has forgotten holds the real secret to transformation. Start today with just one 20-second hold of each exercise, and I guarantee that within 30 days, you'll look back at this moment as the turning point when everything changed. If you found value in this video, Hit that subscribe button because we're dedicated to cutting through the fitness industry nonsense and delivering only science-based information that actually works. Drop a comment below telling me which exercise you're going to start with and where you're watching from. I read every single one, and your engagement helps us reach more people who need this information. Now stop scrolling, get on the floor, and prove to yourself that transformation doesn't require a gym membership, just 20 seconds of absolute commitment.